Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So, look, I think they're wrong. I get it. I get why A&M dropped in the seeding. I don't agree with it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Of course, some college football to get into. As OB is on assignment in Destin. I don't know if that's where he is currently. But let's go to the ring camera or the ring light and see Olin Buchanan there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline live in Florida. OB, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm in actually Miramar Beach, Sandestin.
Okay.
Just a couple of miles, I think, east of Destin. So in my hotel room. And it's been raining like hell since I've gotten here.
Well, OB, let's get into it, man. We'll start off with the college baseball talk. Obviously, A&M getting the 12th seed, and then we'll move into some college football topics that you'll be chasing there in Destin. But the 12th seed, I listened to Bronny and Zane's breakdown. I think if you're not going to be a national seed, they got a pretty good draw. Look, according to Bronny, USC pitches very similarly to Auburn. They don't have the offense, that Auburn has. But let's just say maybe unpack it from the fact that they fell to the 12th seed. And I think it's because they went 4-6 down the stretch and then lost their only game in Hoover.
I guess there's that. And then I've heard people say, well, their strength of schedule hurt them. I don't know. You know my feelings on it. I said it over and over. If you finish third in the SEC, what do they have? Again, the SEC has, what was it, 4 in the top 8?
5
in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you finish third in a conference that has 5 in the top 8. How is that does that not make you a top 8, especially when you beat at least 2 of those teams in a series in the top 8? I can't wrap my mind around that. They want to, if they're saying that the non-conference schedule wasn't good enough, I say, okay, well, what about the conference schedule? Because there are probably teams that played a better non-conference schedule but didn't play nearly as tough a conference schedule.
Right.
I hate to be that guy that's well, I actually like being a conspiracy theorist, but not in sports. But it's alarming to me, almost comical, how in men's sports especially, that you can just expect the selection committees to I don't want to say not be fair, but just I'll say to screw over A&M. 12 seed. I would have not been happy, but I guess I'd have been more palatable if it was a 10, like some people are projecting. But again, you're saying that team that swept Texas because they only played 2 games and won a series over Mississippi State. Did they host? Are they a hosting team, Mississippi State? I can't remember, but
no.
A very good team. They're probably a 2 seed.
Mississippi State is hosting.
They are. Okay. So, and then Florida. And you're going to tell me that's only that there's 11 teams that have a better resume than that. I don't buy it. But that said, hey, just win.
Well, yeah,
show them how stupid they were.
That's what I was going to say. The only thing you can do from a look, we as a talk show, we can talk about whatever the hell we want. But if you're the A&M baseball team, the only thing you can do is play so well that it is clearly obvious they made a mistake. Don't justify their decision-making by losing, right? Don't justify it to just go win your games, right? And look, I have not watched North Carolina play baseball. I don't think you have either, right? I know that they're the number 2 or what is it, top 5 seed, number 5, right? I know they're really good. I get that. They're the ACC. They're not the SEC. I'm glad they're not playing Auburn in the next, if they were able to get out of the regional to the super regional. I'm glad they're not going to Gainesville. I'm not saying that North Carolina is easier. I'm just saying I'm happy to move away from playing them and try somebody from a different conference that probably hasn't played the conference opponents. I know Georgia Tech's great, that A&M has. So from that perspective, take care of business. You've got a couple teams that are known for their pitching coming to Blue Bell. You also have a team that can mash as well. Take care of business. Move on. You're excellent at home. What is it? They've won, is it 9 straight regional games at home, I think it is. So, do what you've been doing.
Yeah, look, it's a playoff, so they need and they hope to be the best version of themselves. And if they are the best version of themselves, then, yeah, you can feel very confident that they'll move on. But you can't be doing the kind of stuff that they did do in the last 10 games. Now, some of that, of course, was because of injuries, but and you're getting healthier.
You get Nico back. You're going to get Aiden Sims back. Like, you're going to be better. You're going to be better defensively. You're going to be better offensively. You're going to be better on the mound by just having your best pitcher back.
Yeah. So, and the other guys are going to have to be the best version of themselves. When they're on, when they're good, they can be as good as anybody. They can give you a really great chance to win. You can win it on pitching if Weston Moss is good, if he's his best self, if whoever, Sadeo or Darden, if they're their best selves, they've shown you can win them. You can win with them with pitching. And the batting order can't be leaving 10 plus on base and things like that. You're going to have to, it's playoffs. You're going to have to be the best version of yourself. If you are, I feel like the Aggies will have a great chance to advance. It probably will. And if you're not, you don't deserve to advance. And then all the, so then we have to say, well, okay, the selection committee was right.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to why you're out of town, OB. You're in Destin covering the SEC spring meetings. This is the pre-meeting to the SEC Media Day meetings. But this was more athletic directors, coaches all getting in a room and talking about the future of the conference and what they want to do. But of course, as you were traveling yesterday, the big storyline is going to be probably all week is the 2014 playoff. And different than what Joel Klatt said yesterday, I believe he said most, if not all, the coaches and athletic directors all want a 2014. Greg Sankey's like, nah, not so fast. It's, there's nothing unanimous in this room. There wasn't anything unanimous last year.
Yeah. And Sankey is still, I wasn't there for his press conference, but I knew people that were, and they said he was still adamant about he supports the 16 team or staying at 12. And look, he's got ESPN behind him. So ESPN probably wins no matter what, but we'll see how that goes. If it is true that a lot of coaches and athletic directors want to go to 24 teams, it just may happen. But Sankey also said nothing's going to be decided this week. So, he just flat out said that. Of course, he also said, I read that he said that he doesn't think football he never thought of football as a tournament sport anyway. And I'm like, all right, I'm with you all the way, Greg, until you say that. Because the NFL uses a tournament. The division or FCS uses a tournament. High schools everywhere use a tournament. In fact, and now FCS uses a tournament, but the only level of football that never used a tournament was Division I college football when they had the bowls, which absolutely sucked. So I'm with you all the way. And then you said that, and I just got to say, yeah, Greg, do you know the history of football?
OB, when businesses grow too fast, sometimes it's not sustainable, right? Like you got a business that's doing really well. Maybe they're regional, right? They're local. And then they're like, dude, we're doing so great. We can open up shops in Modesto and Destin and all these places. And then they crash.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, and Sankey has a quote to kind of mimics this. Not too long ago, we had 2 teams in the playoffs. Then we had 4 teams in the playoffs. And that doubling size, by the way, was still considered like still a small increment, right? Just adding 2 more teams, right? But now we're at a point with 12 teams, and they're talking about doubling that again, right? Like, and what Sankey said yesterday was like when baseball's added some rounds or basketball is a small change, not this double change. And by the way, they did more than double in 4 to 12. That being said, it kind of made sense with the amount of teams you have. But doubling again, he's just saying, I'm not against it. I just want more information. Let's kind of slow down. We don't have to go 1,000 miles an hour to figure this out right now.
Yeah. If you double it, you have almost, if you have 24 teams, that's almost not quite, but probably about, I'm guessing around 17% of the teams in Division One or FBS, whatever you want to call it, that get into the playoff. And that sounds like, wow, that's really a small percentage, especially compared to other sports. But then when you start, I've talked about this before, when you start breaking it down into some of the teams that shouldn't even be, and some of the conferences that shouldn't even be playing at the same level as a Texas A&M and a LSU and Texas and Alabama, they're Ohio State. They're not, I'm talking about the Sun Belt Conference and the MAC and all that. And you start taking out those teams that are just there trying to get a payday because they know they can't compete at that level. Well, then the percentage that's in, it might be damn close to 40% or 50, maybe between 40 and 50%. So I don't see why they're complaining. Some complain that there's just not enough teams in because of look how many teams we have and only this small percentage. They say that. I think the Big Ten say, hey, we're going to make so much more money if we add teams to the playoff, and maybe. But then if it comes at the sacrifice of conference championship games, are you really going to? Because the conference championship game is a big moneymaker.
Obi, Sankey did say that we've got contracts, so he's keeping those SEC championship games right now. But
I think the championship games contract with ESPN goes through 2031.
Right.
I think.
So, what are you chasing today? What's on the agenda today while you're in Destin?
I think there's just going to be more talk on expansion and opinions and things like that. There's and how if A&M, I mean, if it went to 24 games, I'm always curious. Maybe you don't have to impress the committees as much anymore because there's 24 teams. So do you even worry about saying, hey, we need to schedule a really high-profile non-conference opponent? Maybe Greg Sankey doesn't even say, hey, you have to schedule another Power 4 opponent like he does now. So I think those are some of the things. And, the thing is, you don't really talk about the teams in the upcoming seasons that much. You can to some degree, but I've come to realize over the 7 or 8 years I've been coming out here to Destin, it's almost as if the spring meetings are for national big picture issues, and then the SEC media days are more for the upcoming season. Doesn't mean you can't ask questions about both, but that's just kind of how it typically seems to be. So I'll be hoping to get some opinions from Mike Elko and Trev Alberts if he's available, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to Bucky McMillan and find out what he thinks about a 76-team basketball playoff. So, I think that's where most of the discussion is going to go.
This is TexAgs Live, by the way, everybody. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Typically, we're sitting right over there in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but OB's in Destin. I'm here in studio, so we're just going to bring the cool zone around all of us. If you want to be a part of the conversation, OB, tell the people what they need to do.
Well, you can Call or text us. You can call us on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's number 979-693-1150. That's the very same number for the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. So call us on the Buppies hotline, text us on the Catalyst text line.
How mad are you about the seeding, guys? You can text us about that. A&M getting the 12th seed. What do you think about these spring meetings? Do you even care? Do you just want to see the football games, or do you care about the business of it? I care about it right now because I want to see what it looks like, and I don't want to water down what the regular season is all about. So we'll go around the room, go left to right, say hi to the people behind the glass. It's Cade Bickham for the second straight day. Cade, hello, sir.
Yeah, second straight day out of 3. So you get me for one more day after today as well.
Oh, no. That's
it's really a shame, isn't
troubling. I didn't say a shame. It's troubling, but it's not a shame. Tell us something good.
Well, something good. I guess I'll just give you my thoughts on the whole seeding. I think that obviously, as many people do, that 12 was kind of in a shocking spot. I thought that 10 was probably the lowest you'd put at A&M. I think it's interesting getting matched up with 5 seed North Carolina, in a different conference. I think that's the fun part about it. But also, if A&M gets put in the 10, A&M did not play Alabama this year in baseball, and so that would have been an interesting matchup as well if both of those teams were to make it out of their regionals. So just some food for thought there.
Yeah, look, we can complain, we will complain. Of course, we got a website that we vent and we celebrate together, but just win the games. Like, at the end of the day, the postseason is hard. I didn't want to play Miami as our first game. I wanted to play Tulane. I wanted to play James Madison in football, right? That's what I wanted. It didn't happen, so you know what you do? You go beat Miami. Unfortunately, they did not, and their season ended there. So right now, A&M baseball's got a chance to beat a really good USC team if they get the opportunity to play USC, Texas State, and obviously Lamar OB.
Yeah, hey, I saw like you were referring to. I saw unfortunately a 12 beat a 5 in football.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see it again in baseball.
Right. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin Paez is there, last day on the gig.
Oh.
What's up, buddy?
Doing good for the most part.
Yeah, talk to us. What's going on?
Nothing much. I mean, we're talking about baseball, not the best news, but we do have another group of Aggies headed to the NCAA tournament, and that is outdoor for track and field. They start tomorrow in Fayetteville. 25 athletes will participate, so big stuff for them starting tomorrow, and then they'll try to secure a spot in Eugene, Oregon, heading into next week. Another bit of news, I'd say, is the beginning of the French Open in tennis, because we have 2 Aggies that are representing. We got Arthur Rinderknecht at the number 22 seed and Valentin Vachereau at the 16 seed. Vachereau is currently playing, and he's currently in the 4th set against France's Thomas Farrell, and Arthur Rinderknecht won his first-round match up on Sunday. So they're moving on, hopefully, and that's big news there.
Justin, thank you, buddy. Hey, OB, I got good news and bad news for you.
All right, give me the good news.
No, I'm going to give you the bad news first.
Hey, give me the bad news.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the bad news first because it won't work with my bit here. You're very far away from 1775. Very, very far away.
A long way.
The good news is, though, they're not open until Thursday, and you're coming back Thursday night, which means you could potentially go on Friday. Take it from there. Or Saturday.
Yeah. And have some of that succulent brisket.
Yeah.
Or those amazing pork ribs, or that outstanding jalapeno cheese sausage, and some of that tremendous soul mac and cheese.
Yeah, I think you told me you're planning on going soon, right? Like, not like in the cards.
I would like to take my friend Jack for a Jack Willoughby. I'd like to head over there, and he is generous enough to let me use one of his tickets for to watch baseball. And I think the least I could do is return the favor to a certain degree and take him to 1775. In fact, 1775 barbecue is so good that Jack might be indebted to me. No, No, maybe no. I don't think so.
They're even, OB.
I've seen about 4 years of Aggie baseball to 117.75 lunch. Yeah, that's probably about even.
About even. Check out the website, 1775txbbq.com. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner Schools. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. It is now time for the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used heavy equipment. OB, I don't know if you got anybody on your list today. I mean, you might, but wasn't a great weekend.
I can't think of anybody from the Aggies that really stands out to me off the top of my head. That guy playing basketball in San Antonio looks pretty good.
That guy's not bad.
Huh?
I said that guy's not bad.
Yeah. Wembanyama.
Wemby. So I'm going to give you an Aggie. Okay.
Okay.
His name is Wheaton Ennis. Round one this past weekend at Traditions in the first round of the NCAA tournament. He had a 6 under 66, had an eagle. He shot 67-67 in his final 2 rounds. So he was fantastic. Finished at 16 under for 200, good for second place in the entire 14-team regional field. So shout out to Wheaton Ennis. And, of course, Brian Corton was on the show yesterday. They're taking off today. They definitely get a shout out here on the Knockout Performer of the Week. I'm also going to give the Astros a little bit of love. Sorry it happened against your Rangers, but they threw a combined no-hitter yesterday against your Rangers. Tatsuya, is that how you say it? Tatsuya. Sorry, I don't know why I made it Italian. And Imai, who made his debut. Go ahead, Kate. I can tell you're just can't wait to say something. So Tatsuya and Imai.
Why is anybody throwing a combined no-hitter in a 9-0 game? I mean, if the guy has no hits and you're winning like 9-0, and the guy's not, why are you taking him out?
You want to protect his arm. They're looking for the long-term benefit of using him later, okay? Do you want to add to that?
He had like 97 pitches through 6 innings. He would have finished the game with like 140 if he had gone all 9, probably, and that would have pretty much destroyed his elbow. So,
and then we wouldn't be here talking about it.
Soft now. Oh, the 140 pitches destroyed my elbow. Yeah, you know, I can remember watching guys pitch like that, especially if you had a no-hitter. In fact, I'd have to pry the ball out of their hands.
Yeah, that was a different time. That's when guys didn't join their best friends on a team. Yeah, they were men. And what are they now?
Soft.
Okay.
Soft men.
There's nothing worse than being soft man. All right, let's go to Justin at the Agri Elephant News and Social Center. Who do you have for your recommendation?
I have Maya Perez, and yes, you may say, well, she hasn't played in, a week or two now because their season did end, but she did gain All-America second-team honors from D1 softball after a season where she reached base in 55 of 57 contests. She had 19 homers, hit over 400 batting average, was top 4 in the country in on-base percentage and top 25 in slugging. Amazing season for her. This is a consecutive season that she's been awarded All-American honors, so big stuff for Maya Perez.
Yeah, congratulations to Maya. The track and field team, as you mentioned, they're getting started here this week. Hopefully we get some other national championships. You never know. Brian Corton and the men and Pat Henry and both the men and the women OB still competing at a high level. Still got Alex Caruso competing at Oklahoma City.
Oh, my gosh. She has been absolutely amazing. Besides 2 nights ago when they did lose by 21 to the Spurs. But in the series as a whole, you start the series, you go over 30 points, and then you go 17 and 15. And then even his defense, which is kind of not on the stat sheet as much, but against Wembanyama, he's been able to
neutralize at times.
As much as one can.
The dude's hitting half-court shots.
Yeah, he's an alien. But, yeah.
Why do they call him an alien? Is it because the way he looks?
I would say so.
That's not nice.
I mean, I was going to say he looks like Slenderman.
You know, now to think about it, you should probably had Johnny Manziel on there for 2 reasons. Number one, for winning that, fight.
Yeah.
And number 2, for actually showing up when he said he would be there.
Yeah. On time, I assume.
Yeah.
And didn't they put that the money, the winner would get all of the money? I think they made.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because at first, obviously, both sides win a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
But then during their
who put this card together?
I have no idea. I don't even know if they dislike each other or if they were just putting.
I do got a question. I like the fight game, OB, the combat sports. I do like it, but I'm not going out of my way to watch celebrity fighting. I will go out of my way to watch it on Twitter, right? Yeah. I'll watch a highlight later. Are people paying money to watch it? Like, is it a draw?
I would say people are paying money for that.
Must be for them to do it.
Huh.
bringing in some cash.
I guess so. Hopefully Johnny continues his boxing career. And if he does so, you should probably reach out to Rollo Insurance. They're my insurance provider. They can be your insurance provider as well. They do not have a call center. They're not an automated system. You got a guy, or a lady, by the way. You can get a really unique, direct service from Rollo Insurance. They're fantastic. I got Morgan who takes care of me. They got 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but they're all over the place, whether it's home, auto, business, ranch, whatever it may be. Start a relationship with an expert who puts you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your unique situation, providing a customized protection plan that mass market insurers simply cannot match. So whether you have advice or you need a claim or whatever it may be, you'll speak directly with someone who knows your situation. That's the Rollo difference. What you should do is visit the website, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, 888-44-ROLLO, 888-44-ROLLO. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Back here on TexAgs Live, we are presented by David Gardner Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance, still the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB is on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline in Florida for SEC spring meetings. And our dear friend Charean Williams joins us from Pro Football Talk, the Aggie Hall of Famer, our dear friend. Charean, good morning.
Good morning. Saw my third no-hitter last night.
Well, I was an idiot. When I said the combined no-hitter, I read a name as two different names, and it was apparently the same guy. So that happens sometimes when you don't know some of these baseball players.
Well, yeah. So my very first baseball game ever, fun fact, was the 1981 Nolan Ryan's fifth in a career no-hitter against the Dodgers. My second baseball game was Mike Scott clinching the division in 1986 for the Astros. On a lark, I just drove from College Station. It was a day game, drove from College Station to Houston, bought a ticket, went to the game by myself. See a no-hitter, 2 baseball games in person, 2 no-hitters, and until last night I hadn't seen a third one, but I got my third one last night. So somebody texted me and said, maybe it's you and it's not the pitcher. So maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I should go to more Astros games. Sorry, Olin.
Hey, that's all right. You know, we Rangers fans are used to we're very accustomed to being the downtrodden and beaten up.
They're both not very good, I think.
Hey, Charean, I'd love to get your thoughts on A&M's baseball team getting the 12th seed and the matchup here at the regional and hopefully a super regional at North Carolina.
Well, I don't think the committee did them any favors for sure. To be the 12th seed, first of all, and then to get USC, with the RPI that they have, it certainly wasn't a good draw for the Aggies. But you know what? If you're going to get to Omaha, you're going to have to win some big games anyway, so go win them. And you had something, you could have made that better in the tournament. You could have played better. You could have won a game in the tournament. You could have helped yourself. You could have not played Prairie View, and I know they said don't do that, and then yet the A&M's penalized for playing Prairie View late in the year and beating Prairie View late in the year. So, but, to win a national championship, you got to win all your games. You got to beat some good teams. This is it. Go prove that where you're seated and the draw that you got was okay and you're better than what the committee thought you were.
That's the only thing you can do. And like I said earlier, if you don't go out and win, well, then you have to shut up and say, well, I guess the committee was right.
Yeah, no doubt. Agreed. And they've got a chance to show that and prove that. And they'll either show that they are better than what they were seeded or they won't. And it's their opportunity. You're at home. We saw what the softball team did the last 2 years. So you've got this opportunity at home to go put a stamp on it and get to the super regional. And then who knows what happens.
Charean, OB is in Florida for SEC spring meetings. I'm just curious what your stance is on this politicking that seems to be going on. A lot of conferences aligned with the Big Ten with this 2014 playoff. Yesterday, Greg Sankey's like, I'm not against it per se, but we're not in alignment either. We want to investigate where we need to go. What do you think about this division between that, the ESPN SEC team and everybody else?
Are they going to change the number of regular season games? It's too many games. The NFL doesn't play that many postseason games. And are players going to be willing to sacrifice their bodies if they've got NFL talent to go out and play that many more games? I don't know. They're definitely going to want more money. Are you going to be willing to you're going to get more money, so you're going to be willing to pay the players more money than what they're getting? I have a lot of questions about this, and at some point something's got to give. And so I'm not a big fan of this for all those reasons, for the more games that it's going to add. I think the number where they are right now is pretty good. Maybe expand it a little bit more, but 24 is too many to me. And I don't know if you're going to have guys opting out, but you're certainly going to have them asking for, they get to that playoff. I'm not playing this many games. I'm either opting out or you're going to pay me more money or whatever the case is going to be. But I think you're going to have some of that if you're going to be playing this many postseason games. That's a lot of wear and tear on those young bodies.
You know what? That's something I hadn't thought about, but just another, and there's plenty of reasons to be against a 2014 playoff, but that's just another, good one. And, quite frankly, again, am I the only person, Charean, that still sees value? I'm not talking about monetary value either.
Yeah.
In conference championship games.
I'm not a big fan of I'm a big fan of the conference championship game if it was like where it was. If it is a true, you have divisions and one team wins one division and one team wins the other division and you go play and you play for a conference championship, that's great. But the way they have it now, I think it's pretty useless, aside from monetarily benefiting the conference, which is why it's probably never going to go away. But other than to say, hang the banner and say we won a conference championship, I don't know that it means anything at all. It's weird the way they pick them, and it's just an extra game. Again, an extra game that really, in the end, doesn't mean a thing.
Right,
go ahead, Obi. I'm sorry.
One of the reasons why I always thought that, and they'll never do this, never did, but I always thought 8 was the perfect number because it made, if the conference champion got in, it made the conference championship game so vital. By the way, I talked to some people from Austin yesterday, and they were talking about how they hate the conference championship game. They went to it, and it was just a waste of time. And I'm thinking, there you go. Texas comes in, immediately starts trying to complain and change things themselves.
Charean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, and if people stop going to it, Olin, there's another incentive for them to do away with it, because that's the incentive right now is a moneymaker for the conferences.
Yeah.
Charean, do you feel that a breakaway is more inevitable than we've seen the last couple of years, like an SEC, Big Ten, top 60 league, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think that's where it's headed for sure. I do. And I don't necessarily like that, but I do think that's where it's headed. And, NIL and the portal have changed a lot of things. And there's some ways they can fix it. They just don't seem willing to fix it. And there's ways to fix it where you don't, what I seem to get is a lot of the top schools, and A&M's one of them, don't want to be handcuffed by the amount of money that you can pay, because we got money, we're going to use our money, we're going to spend our money. Okay, that's fine, but you only play 5 years. You can get, you get one transfer, that's it, one transfer, you're done after one, so make it count. Or you get one transfer and after that you sit out a year and that counts toward your 5 years. However you want to do it, there's ways to make this thing better. They just haven't been willing to do anything to make it better. So to your point, David, I think that is where it's headed. I think there is going to be a break-off, and I think there's going to be the haves and the have-nots.
Absolutely. I've been calling for it for about 20 years. It's been so obvious that it's going to happen. I've always thought it was kind of what you're referring to is I've always thought it was odd that, like, no disrespect meant at UH, but like a program, now they're in the Big 12, so it's different, but a program like UH could dictate what a program like Texas A&M can do, what their limits are. Or Rice is telling Alabama how much you can spend. I just never understood that.
Charean Williams with us here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Hey, Charean, did you get to catch Johnny Manziel's fight?
Yes, I did, and I laughed at it. And he said it'll be the last one, and I hope it is. It was pretty funny. Yes.
Hey, let me just close out with an NFL question. It looks like I was reading on Pro Football Talk this morning that maybe the expansion to 18-game regular season may not happen as quick as some people initially thought.
Yeah, the NFLPA, the Players Association, has a say in this. They're going to have to prove it. And right now, the incentive is obviously going to be, it will get approved at some point because the money is too great. And again, it adds the wear and tear to their bodies, which is why they're against it at this point. But you start adding the money in and people go, okay, which gets back to the college thing. It's the same thing. Say, okay, we'll play more games. You give us more money, and they come to an agreement. But it's going to take a bit, I think, before they can get the schedule finalized like they want it, where they can get the Players Association, the PA on board, all those things. I do think it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen, but it is going to happen. At some point, they're going to go to an 18-game season, and you see how they're playing these games every day of the week. They possibly can. I think there's games on every day this season, every day of the week this season, except Wednesday, I think, is the only day that we don't have. No, it's Tuesday, because Wednesday we got the pre-Thanksgiving Day game. So Tuesday is the only day that we're not having these games. And, I saw what Jason Kelsey said about Sundays being the game, and you're really watering that down, and maybe they are. And maybe it is what Mark Cuban said, that, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, and maybe one day the NFL will come to be, that'll come to be for the NFL, that hogs do get slaughtered, because I do think it's too spread out right now on too many different networks, streaming services, whatever, and there's going to be too many games in the future.
Obi, any thoughts to close out?
I do think the NFL is pushing its popularity too much, and at a time when I think the NFL popularity is starting to decline. I don't see the NFL as being as popular among, say, the next generation as it is to the current one. And so if you're oversaturating, you might be making a big mistake.
Yeah, and I think we're going to find that out, because I think that's exactly what's going to happen, OB.
Charean, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Obi, I know you got to get going as well. Just kind of give us a lay of the land, what today looks like. How accessible are these coaches? Do they do breakaways? How do you kind of get to talk to everybody?
Well, at 10 o'clock, they haven't said who, but they're around 10 o'clock, they'll start with coaches' press conferences. Each one usually lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. Not every coach does them. They've got to volunteer to do them, but they have a little theater in this, what I call the basement of this hotel, and so we sit in there and do that. And then, depending on how popular the coach is, usually as he leaves, the masses follow him and do even more question Q&A. And like I said, for the most part, they're asked about big picture, national view items. But and then later, you try to catch athletic directors as they come and go. You try to catch the basketball coaches as they come and go. And then at 6 o'clock, they have a big. They may not today because of the weather, but they have a big reception with all the shrimp you can eat out at the hotel, on a deck behind the hotel. And that's the closest I'll ever get to the beach. And it's a great opportunity to talk to and meet these coaches more on a personal basis.
Awesome stuff, OB. Enjoy the rest of your time. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the show.
All right, we'll see you then.
See you. Olin Buchanan there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll close out the Go Hour with some thoughts from Justin. I'm sure you got some things ready, and I know there's been a lot of commentary on the YouTube page. At 9 o'clock, John Scheschuk will join us. At 9:35, SEC Michael Bratton going to join us. At 10 o'clock, Billy Liucci. He's going to come in because yesterday we only did a little bit, so we're going to finish it out, get his thoughts on the 12 seed and all the good stuff happening with A&M athletics. Right now, our moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're looking for a selection that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, check out Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have an inventory that's growing daily. They want to bring you the best deals out there, and the real deal is they're south of those big city prices. No dealer add-ons. What you see is what you pay, and that's the beauty. You're going to go there. You're going to really love the entire atmosphere and, of course, the pricing. It's all about the pricing, right? But you want a very good customer service beyond that. They're locally owned. They have a team that's going to roll out the red carpet for you, and they're going to bring you value at every step of the way. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. Its products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the Performance Polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, hey, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out Burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. is Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is still the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Not currently hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. That's right. Let's do our fifth ad spot. We'll go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin, you got what's happening on TexAgs today.
Yeah, on TexAgs today, we got B Team later on.
Yep.
Richard Zane, Ryan Broniger, talking baseball. Will be exciting. We obviously have moving goalposts already on the site from yesterday. Billy Liucci on the tap. We got regional preview. Obviously, A&M baseball is in the NCAA tournament, playing Lamar on Friday here at Bluebell Park. And then, of course, as we talked to during the Go Hour, OB is at SEC spring meetings, bringing us content all the way through Thursday.
Yeah, good stuff there. All right, you got a topic, a Lane Kiffin topic, right?
I do have a Lane Kiffin topic. Obviously, a few weeks ago, he made that comment saying, like, you know, some parents were kind of weary of their kids coming to play at Ole Miss because, I don't know, there was kind of a shot he put at Ole Miss, and now Ole Miss is potentially looking to give him some consequences, a potential reprimand for the comments he had. He did.
Is Ole Miss doing that, or is the SEC investigating that? How are you reading?
It says Ole Miss and SEC officials are discussing a potential reprimand.
Sounds like to me Ole Miss said, hey, man, he hurt my feelings. You should do something about this, especially because it's race-related.
Right, it's race-related. Now, I will say Kiffin a couple weeks ago went and said he apologized, but he's kind of offered that they didn't.
Did he apologize?
He says, I really apologize if anybody at Ole Miss was offended by that. I asked about differences in recruiting, and I said one narrative we battled there from some out-of-state parents and grandparents and was not wanting their kid to move to Mississippi.
But then he also combated that with, and I get to Baton Rouge, and people are like, oh, I love the diversity here. I love it. It's amazing. What else did he say? He also said, I didn't say anything. I'm just reporting back what the parents said. It's like when a reporter will ask a question to a coach or an athlete, and it bugs me when they do this. Although sometimes it makes sense. Usually not. You know, fans want to know. And he's like, why you did this? And coach is like, do you want to know, or do fans want to know? Like, well, the fans want to know. I trust me. You know, so just say your comments, stand behind them.
Yeah, I completely
If that's
agree.
what you think, you think. I can't change what people think. I think it's classless to make that comment after you leave somewhere.
Right.
Even if you believe it. I've had other jobs other than TexAgs, right? And I would never publicly speak bad, unless it was like I'm trying to think, like, if something bad happened, of course you would speak. But if you left, you were happy, you left for what you consider a better job, like, I would never say negative things about Channel 13 or Chase Bank or all these places, the Dallas Mavericks. I just wouldn't say it publicly. Like, if I have, public or comments that were a bit insulting, I'd maybe tell my wife, but I'm not going to go blast the program that I helped build. I would never do that. But I'm not Lane Kiffin.
And Lane
and he's super successful and I'm not. So there's that. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say he loves to be in the headlines. So
yeah, he does. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com. And your favorites, they're on their way. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 begins now with John Scheschuk, our good friend, joining us, the A&M former player, the great, joining us here on the program. Would have loved some Fat Pat, Tops Drop. It's all right, though. Mr. Scheschuk, how are you, sir? I hear loud music and not John Scheschuk. John Scheschuk, are you there, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? How are you this morning?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Excited to see some playoff baseball this weekend.
I'm assuming you're not so worked up about the seeding, although you probably disagree with it. But I'm just assuming the 12th seed, yeah, it is what it is. Let's go play ball. It's kind of how I'm assuming that's where you stand.
That's exactly where I stand. I mean, to me, the super regional is what it is. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen on the other side. You know, from the other site that A&M's matched up with. I mean, there could be an upset there between Tennessee and North Carolina or whoever. So there's no reason to even speculate on that. The Aggies still may get, their wishes and have a super regional at home if they're able to get through this regional, which is not going to be easy. So I'm 100% with you on that. I don't think it's an issue. And truthfully, David, these guys play in the toughest league in America. They play in hostile environments all year long. So if they have to go to North Carolina or wherever they had to play, I honestly don't think that's a huge issue for A&M. I think they might even relish that and be excited to go into enemy territory and try to get a bid to Omaha.
I was going to stay there for a second because I'm on the same page as you. I think of it as look, I recognize that North Carolina at one point was the number 2 team in the country. They're excellent. They're a top 5 team, top 5 national seed. I recognize all that. But if you're going on the road at any super regional, it's supposed to be extremely hard. That's the A. And the B, I don't hate the fact that they're not taking on an SEC team. I didn't want to go back to Gainesville. I certainly didn't want to go to Auburn. I didn't want to go to Tuscaloosa either, right? I kind of enjoy the idea of going elsewhere against a program that, I don't know if they have a hostile environment or not, but I think A&M has played in hostile enough environments.
No, that's exactly right. And you'll have to fact check me on this, but I think it was 2017 when Texas A&M went to Omaha. And I want to say it was even matched up with North Carolina, and North Carolina got upset in their regional, and then whoever the team was that came into Bluebell Park at that time, of course, A&M won. Again, you'll have to fact check me on that. So this is not unprecedented. I do agree with you. I think it'll be good to get some freshness of a North Carolina, as an example, compared to that SEC rival. I think that'll be good and healthy. But look, we know what the statistics are. The statistics are about 3/4 of the team that hosts super regionals go to Omaha, so it is an advantage. I do understand why Texas A&M fans might be upset about that. But at the end of the day, man, when it's time to go play ball, you go play ball, and you gotta knock the door down to get to Omaha, no matter how you slice it.
Talking to John Scheschuk here on TexAgs Live. All right, John, so how much do we read into the game against Auburn? And how much do we read into them going, 4-6 down the stretch of the end of the regular season? And how much we were like, yeah, I get it, but it's A, the SEC, and B, we were kind of injured.
Yeah, I don't read too much into the game with Auburn. I mean, clearly Auburn was ready to play that day. I'm kind of surprised they didn't win the tournament. They're hot. I think they're a really good team. Matter of fact, they're I won't even say my sleeper. That's the wrong terminology. I think they are going to be an extremely tough out all the way through the national championship, just with their pitching depth and their offense. And it just seems like that team is in really good rhythm. And so, I know they got the 4th seed nationally, so they're in a good spot. I think they're going to make a big run. But even over the last 2 or 3 weekends, I don't read a ton into that either. I mean, look, it is a grind. We know that. They ended up with 18 regular season wins. We also know that's a fact. So Texas A&M is a very good team. We know they have some challenges here and there, specifically on the mound. So I don't ring the alarm bell for what's happened the last couple of weeks. I think you're going to see their best version of themselves coming this weekend, and I fully expect them to play well throughout that regional.
Yeah, and my thing is going to be with this team, it doesn't matter who they play sometimes, it's the pitching, right? If you get a really good Weston Moss, if you get a really good Ethan Darden, if you get a healthy Aiden Sims, which it looks like he's going to be pitching this weekend, to me, it always comes down to that. And obviously, you need Gavin Lyons to pitch well, and Clayton Freshcorn's been great most of the season, if not all of the season. It's just going to come down to that, because I don't think there's going to be many games where this A&M offense is quiet.
I agree with that. I think we talked about that last time I was on the show. I actually think the regional sets up well, even despite USC. USC staff is dominant. And, I know Texas State and Lamar, they're going to do what they do, especially with their first and second starters, their first and second guys. But USC's pitchers are the real deal. So in my opinion, every single game that this regional extends, that the advantage tilts towards Texas A&M because their offense is one of the best in the country. And, I fully expect the south wind to be blowing this weekend at Bluebell Park. And so I like the Aggies' chances, but what you said is correct. You're going to have to get some good outings from these guys that you just mentioned. And if A&M gets those good outings, I think they have a very, very good chance of advancing. And if they don't, it could be a challenge.
Bronny yesterday on the Rapid Reaction kind of compared USC's pitching staff to Auburn's. We saw how good Auburn's pitching staff did against A&M. He said the offense wasn't what Auburn's is, but that does worry me if you play USC, by the way. And who knows if they'll pitch Mason Edwards in the first game and you don't have to face him, or if they save him for maybe a game two.
Yeah, if I'm USC, you have to throw him. I always think that sends a mixed message to your team. I mean, shoot, going all the way back to my day, we played Baylor in a 2 out of 3 to win the Big 12. And they had Kip Wells and Jason Jennings, who ended up being 2 big league pitchers. And they didn't start either of those guys on Friday night. They were trying to play the long game and win the series in game 2 and game 3. Well, that totally backfired on them because we beat them pretty soundly on Friday night. And then Saturday went up against Jason Jennings and won that game too. So I'm always of the mindset, if I'm managing a club, to say, look, we're putting our best foot forward here. We're going to get out of the gate quickly and win that first game. But yeah, look, USC traditionally has been the best program in the history of college baseball. I think by national championships, That's a fact. So they are going to have a strong roster. I know they've been down a little bit in recent years, but that is still a very strong brand in Southern California, and kids that grow up in that area want to play for them, just like kids in Houston and Dallas want to play for Texas A&M. So you're going to have a very, very strong team. That roster is going to look the part. They've traditionally not been an overly offensive club. Traditionally, they have been a we're going to out-pitch you and out-defend you kind of program. And, of course, we know in baseball that's how you win. So, for any fans that's not aware of USC, just expect a very strong team. They are going to pitch it well. They are going to play fundamental ball. They're going to force you to beat them. I wouldn't be surprised to see them bunt some, hit and run some, kind of more of that old school baseball approach. But they're going to be tough, no doubt. And by the way, that's just USC. You still have the other 2 clubs in the regional, and you just never know what could happen.
I want to go back to that. So you think pitching your best guy, but does it kind of depend on which matchup you have? So, for instance, do you pitch Aiden Sims against a Lamar team that hopefully you can handle, or do you say, or do you just keep your same rotation? Your Friday guy is your Friday guy. Your Saturday guy is your Saturday guy. When you talk about having your best, how would you kind of lay it out for A&M, at least with the way this pitching staff is constructed?
Yeah, to me, I wouldn't change a thing. I have not spoken to Mike, so I don't know what he's going to do. But to me, I would not change a thing. I think you go with, whoever your Friday starter was going to be, which I know there's been some change in that recently with Texas A&M. But I would play it that way. To me, that's the rhythm of the team, and you just have to win game 1. That's super important. So I wouldn't assume anything. Look, I saw Wayne Graham do this over the course of his career at Rice. I mean, if they were in a regional or an elimination game and there was even a sniff of that game getting away, I don't care if it was in the 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, whatever, he was going to put his go-to stopper. No matter where they were in the tournament, he was going to play to win that game. And I saw that philosophy work for him all the way to Rice winning a national championship. So I'm just always of the mindset is you do what's gotten you there, you stick to it, and you don't try to get cute. I feel like when you try to get cute, that's when things can really get array on you.
Well, John, I think also with A&M, and I've used this line so much, it's going to be a billboard soon, but just pitch good enough, right? If Ethan Darden can be good enough, if Weston Moss can be good enough, I think this team has a chance to do some special things still this season.
Totally agree with that. I mean, we saw this in 22 for Texas A&M. Nobody would have thought that team would have gotten to the Final Four, which they did. I think this is a similar type group. And that's the thing, David. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, 5, 6, 7 runs. Now, maybe against USC's top-line guys, that doesn't work. But again, as the regional goes on and you get into Sunday and even Sunday night, I think 5, 6, 7 runs in a game late in this regional tournament is going to be enough for Texas A&M. I just fully expect them to score runs at a pretty convincing clip, and to me, that's what's going to tilt them over the top. So, look, if a guy gives up a home run in the first inning or second inning and they're down 2 or 3 to nothing, you can't panic in that scenario. You just have to play clean ball and limit it, to getting really ballooned out of control. And if you can do that, I think Texas A&M's in a really good position to win the regional.
Talking to John Scheschuk here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. John, one of the things that I have said for a while, and I hope I end up being right, is that Shane Stadeo is going to have one of these moments where he's going to remind us of who Shane Stadeo has been in the past.
I totally agree with that. I've been waiting for that all year long. And frankly, I'm shocked, David, that I haven't seen it yet. I just watch his stuff. I mean, he's back to 95, 96. His off speed is great. I mean, he fills up the zone and he's not scared. And I don't understand why that's not translating. And I'm sure Shane doesn't either, because the stuff is there and the stuff is as good as any frontline starter in the league. So that's not a question. I don't think his mentality is a question. Maybe he's just still not back to form, which you would think at this point of the year he would be. But I'm right there with you. I fully expect some outing to where the guy just throws six innings and gives up 2 runs and, punches out 9 guys and walks 2. I'm expecting that as well. And boy, do the Aggies need that this weekend and in the Super Regional, and if they make it to Omaha there too.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since we saw Aiden Sims. So, can we expect the Aiden Sims we've seen most of the season, or is 2 week? Is that long of a layoff going to maybe hurt him, or do you think he'll be fresh and he'll be good to go?
I want to think he'll be fresh and good to go, but you just never know the extent of whatever his challenges were, whether that's going to impact him coming out this weekend. But I think this time of year, having that rest should be a positive. That's assuming that his arm is fully healthy and he's good to go. And if that's the case, then yes, I think you could expect a great outing from him, which Texas A&M obviously needs. But we'll see come this weekend. But my hope is, and my expectation is, that freshness will be solid for him and he'll be able to perform at a really high level.
John, is there a pitcher that maybe we haven't talked a lot about that you think, all right, I've seen some things recently, look out, Powell or somebody? Obviously we've seen a lot from Gavin Lyons this year, but is there somebody that maybe we're just not really thinking about at the top of the list that may have this moment where their name is going to be catapulted into next season?
Well, I don't know about next season, but Darden seems to be that guy for me. And I know that he's kind of more on the radar, if you will. So that may not be exactly what you're looking for with that question. But I kind of go back to him just because of that experience and the number of starts he's had and the fact that he's got ACC-level start experience. I just keep waiting, kind of like I am with Stadeo on that one, David, to see when is this guy going to come out with that start that just shocks the world, if you will. But, of course, there might be a guy coming out of the bullpen that does that. We've talked about that many, many times on this program, how, like, Khalid Baluli did that for us in 1999, just came out of nowhere and had a great outing against Long Beach State. But I really want to see Darden do that. Again, I know he's pitched more this year, so it's not exactly what you were looking for. But I do think he's a guy that could come out of nowhere and just give you an awesome outing, and you go, wow, the team really needed that at that time.
I don't think I would normally lead off an offensive question with Blake Binderup, but I think he's been really good. You think he's a guy that we may see this weekend?
I've always been a Blake Binderup fan. I've said that to you repeatedly as well. I just watch him in BP and the power numbers that he has. Of course, he got inserted in the lineup this year, and he's done a good job. He's hitting for a decent average, and the pop is there. For me, Blake is the attitude, and I don't mean that he's got a bad attitude. I mean I'm getting in this box and I'm going to dominate you. That's what I want to see about Blake. He's a super quiet guy. His body language is quiet. He kind of just gets in there and does his deal. But I'd love to see a little emotion out of him, and I mean positive emotion. I'm not talking about out of control emotion. But he's the kind of guy that I absolutely think can run into one. I want to see if he can stay out of the 0-2, 1-2 counts. That's what gets him in trouble. And Boston Kellner's the same way. Those two guys, if they're able to get ahead and swing the bat early in the count and make contact, I think they could do good things for Texas A&M offensively. But I like where your mind is on him, Blake specifically. I think he could run into 1 or 2 or 3 even this weekend and be a huge X factor for that A&M offensive lineup.
How about Ben Royo, a guy that he's made the most out of his appearances this year?
Yeah, Ben Royo is a seasoned veteran. I mean, he would be kind of like a Darden to me. Very similar type players. I mean, they've got experience. They've proven that they can do it. The stage doesn't get to them. Yes, I think Royo would play very, very well this weekend. He seems like a guy that the moment's never too big for either, David. And I think he'll be able to come out and do some solid things for Texas A&M in all phases. I think he's going to be solid defensively. I think he's a solid base runner. You know, he's a good athlete. And, of course, offensively, the guy can swing the bat. So, yes, I like him for sure.
I'm embarrassed to say we're 16 minutes in and I haven't asked you about Nico Partita and the fact that he's back. Could have played this past week in Hoover, but Coach Early decided to keep him back because he knew he'd be super healthy for this week. Let's talk about the ripple effects about having Nico back in the lineup. Obviously, what he brings offensively, what he does for the other guys in the lineup, and what he brings to the team defensively, and everybody kind of going back to their natural positions.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, it's huge. I mean, getting Gavin back over to first base is an upgrade, and I don't mean that disrespectfully to Blake Benderup, but Gavin's just a skilled defender, and he's proven that this year at first base. And, of course, the lineup length is a whole different discussion. But, yes, I mean, Nico coming back in there defensively, he's going to bring energy. Offensively, the guy's been, one of the most solid contributors that Texas A&M's had on their staff, on their lineup this year. So, yeah, getting him back is going to be a huge shot in the arm for the entire team. I'm excited for Nico, too. I'm excited for the future of the program as well because, just gaining this regional and hopefully super regional and Omaha experience will really, pay dividends for Texas A&M in years to come. So he's going to add a ton of length to the lineup. He'll bring a ton of energy defensively, and overall just be a nice shot in the arm for the Aggies.
Talking about John Scheschuk. All right, John, let's close out with this. What do we need to see this weekend from A&M? Obviously, they need to score more runs than all their opponents. But what do we need to see from them if you were to give me like a 2-3 things to watch out for them to move on to a super regional?
Number one is consistency from an emotional perspective. You're going to see a lot of highs and lows this weekend. You're going to face really good pitching against USC for sure. You have to just stay the course and be consistent there. Number two is a glaring statement of the obvious, and that's the pitching. Shane Sadeo, he is going to have to step up and just relax. He doesn't have to be perfect. Just get him some nice innings. Same with Gavin Lyons, same with Aiden Sims, same with Weston Moss. Those guys are going to have to do what they do. If they can get the ball into Freshcorn's hands, really good things are going to happen. And if they can't, it's going to be a challenge for Texas A&M to get out of. And then number three is just follow their lead. I think Mike Early has proven himself this year. I think the team believes in his decision-making. You go back to the sacrifice bunt that we had a couple weeks ago, which was a huge play in that game, which led to a victory. And I think if they can just follow the lead of Coach Mike and really just buy into what he's doing decision-making wise, if they can do all those things, stay really consistent, if their pitching can just show up, and then if they can follow the lead of Mike Early, I think good things will come for Texas A&M.
John, I appreciate it, buddy. We'll talk to you here very soon, all right?
Thank you, sir. Hey, get some Fat Pat going. That will win us a title this weekend, all right?
You know him, buddy. Tops drop. That is the great John Scheschuk.
All right.
See you, bud, on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Maybe we can hear a little Fat Pat on there. You don't know about Fat Pat, do you? I think you'd like Fat Pat. We got to send him the YouTube clip to play that because I don't think they have a clean one at Bryan Broadcasting. All right. Anyway, Heritage Films. That's Chance McClain's company. Chance is my friend. There you go. Documentaries. Get one done for your family. You actually really should. He isn't just making documentaries. Yes, this is what his business does. They do family stories and whatnot, but he's preserving family stories that would otherwise be lost forever, whatever that story may be. We all have important people in our lives, and that story needs to be told, not just for the right now. Like I told you about doing my dad's story a few years back that we all got to watch together, which was just awesome. It was an awesome, awesome moment. That part was great, right? What's really going to be awesome is 20 years from now, 30 years from now, right? And how about 100 years from now, so for people to know all about the Nuño family, your last name, whatever it may be, the Bickhams. You should have a documentary done for all of you guys. Call Chance McClain and his team up. They'll do these documentaries. They're going to stand the test of time. 713-893-8341. That's 893-8341, or check out yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. I didn't say fat rapper. I said Fat Pat. TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. He calls himself big. So I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. So there's an article about football that you want to discuss.
Yeah, and who doesn't like talking about football?
Olin, he hates it.
No, yeah, right. No. So there's an ESPN article came out this morning by David Hale, talking about he ranked all 138 FBS quarterback situations ahead of the 2026 seasons. He breaks it down tier by tier into 25 different tiers. Obviously, we won't dive all the way down there, but near the top of the head, and of course, talking about the Aggies. In tier 1A, it's room at the top. There's 4 guys. Darian Mensah, who's transferred to Miami, Notre Dame, C.J. Carr, Ole Miss's Trinidad Chambliss, and Texas's Arch Manning. Now, unfortunately,
I don't got a problem with that tier right now.
No, that's a good tier. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that 4. But why is Jeremiah Smith's name listed on this article?
So it's saying, and so that one's technically tier 1A. So they're doing that, and then they're breaking it into tier 1B, where Julian Sayin fits in here. But they're really kind of saying he's really good, but he also has Jeremiah Smith, and that's going to boost.
Oh, I see what they're saying. Okay, gotcha. All right. What's tier 2? Or the next tier, or whatever.
Tier 2 is going to say, are you not entertained? And it's having Sam Levitt, Dante Moore / Dylan Raiola, so Oregon's group, and Jaden Mayava, which I'm not.
Okay. This is terrible. Look, yeah. I'm sure we got Baton Rouge people watching. Sam Levitt was really good 2 years ago, and as Billy said on this show, I think on Friday, like a little bit of that was hello Cam Scatterboot, right? Like
for sure.
So, and he didn't play last year. If we're gonna use last year's information, Sam Levitt has no business being above Marcel Reed. Just was Sam Levitt in November a Heisman candidate? I'm just asking for a friend.
Oh, definitely not.
Well, we all recognize the mistakes that happened in the last couple games. Okay. To me, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. It's a 12-game season. And if you're going to say, yeah, but look at the schedule. When it got hard, look what happened. Dude lost. Wasn't he the quarterback on record when they lost to Mississippi State?
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, so esto está, I want to say a word in Spanish that I can't say. Okay, it's doo-doo. Okay.
He also had
and he's really good. I'm not like taking a shot at him. I'm just saying like if you're basing it on what we saw over the last 12 to 16 months, it's just.
Even when he was 2 years ago, was he a Heisman candidate? I don't think so.
No, but I understand he was really good, but I don't think he was the reason. He was a gamer. There's no doubt about that.
The last 2 years, he's had the Big 12's leading rusher on his team at running back standing next to him. And then last year, he had Jordan Tyson for half of the year, who was a first-round draft pick. And then when Jordan Tyson was out with injury, their offense was significantly less potent. There was not a lot of... he didn't do as much without him. There was a lot less production.
Well, and look, I can understand a bit of a bump up because, I think NFL-wise, people were talking about Sam Levitt, and also he's got Lane Kiffin. So I reckon, and it doesn't matter what quarterback plays for Lane Kiffin, they put up really good numbers. So I semi-understand it. But if we're basing it on what we've seen over the last year, you're going to hold 2 games against Marcel. Sorry. All right, so that's tier 2. Jaden Mavia, I didn't watch him enough last year. Dylan Raiola, come on.
I think they're just putting together Oregon's guys, but I'm honestly surprised Dante Moore's not in that tier 1.
Yeah, I would have put Dante in tier 1.
For sure. We haven't seen, CJ Carr we're excited about, but we haven't seen that level that we saw Moore at. But anyway, we'll jump to tier 3 where we do find Marcel Reed. But unfortunately, I don't like the name of this little tier that they have called the Sean Clifford Zone. Now, if you don't know who Sean Clifford is, he was a former Penn State Nittany Lion quarterback, I believe for 3 or 4 years. Was always known to being what David Hale would say, between solid and quite good, and that's why...
Pause. I'm okay with that. If everything around the quarterback's really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if our defense is legit... Now, I think... Here's... When I think about that kind of title, I think of like a game manager. And I don't think Marcel's a game manager. I think Marcel has extreme highs, unfortunately a couple really bad lows. So I don't think of him as a game manager. But Gunnar Stockton, that's if this group of quarterbacks, I think Marcel's in pretty good company, right? Like it's not a shot who he's linked up with. Josh Hoover, John Mateer, Rocco Becht, Marcel, and Devin Dampier. That's not a bad group of guys to be linked with.
I think that at least a couple of those names, Gunnar Stockton and John Mateer, I wouldn't consider them as game managers either. I mean, their situations last year offensively wasn't crazy impressive, and they made things work. I know Mateer fell off after the injury, but they didn't really have many offensive pieces, in my opinion. Now you got guys like Rocco Becht and Devin Dampier, where
I recall Devin Dampier not being super fantastic last season,
and they had a phenomenal offensive line. They had 2 first-rounders, 2 first-rounders, and then he wasn't all that. I agree.
All right, let's do the next tier quickly because we got to get to SEC Mike here in a minute.
Yeah, no, the biggest name, at least that we'll point out, is Houston's Connor Wegman finds himself in the better than you thought tier. I
love Connor.
Yeah, I think he showed a lot of strides forward last year, and I think this year it'd probably be kind of around the same with Willie Fritz.
I think Houston's got a super manageable schedule. I'm trying to look it up real quick.
Yeah, I can run it for you. Yeah, they play Oregon State in week 1, Southern in week 2. That's win-win. At Texas Tech will probably be a loss.
The Friday night game.
Georgia Southern, Central Florida at home. At Kansas State against Colin Klein. Oklahoma State, there's a lot of excitement around with Drew Mestemaker. So that could be a really good game. At Utah with no more Kyle Whittingham. Cincinnati, Colorado, West Virginia, and Baylor. So I think it is definitely manageable with probably 1 to 3 losses, I'd say, on the schedule.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. We're going to come back on the other side. SEC Michael Bratton, talking all of that. I'm sure he'll have an opinion on the 2014 playoff. He'll probably say something polarizing. He'll say something good. He'll say something bad. It'll be fun. It'll be SEC Mike coming up. Right now, if your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, then check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking about the fun ones like Aggie Wing Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, and The Gathering. They all welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand, which includes title sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition in social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for the last 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students. Now that's some fat pat. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our buddy, SEC Mike, joining us here on the program. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, David. Just enjoying the long weekend. How are you?
I'm all right. Michael Bratton here brings us SEC takes all the time, and he joins us quite often during the football season. All right, man, are we going to get anything figured out this week at SEC spring meetings?
I don't think so. I mean, that is, to me, on the SEC calendar, the spring meetings is the most overhyped event. I went down there last year, and I said, I'll probably never go again. Because for those that don't know what it is, we get the coaches down there, we get the ADs down there. They go, they meet in a room. You're not allowed in there. And then they exit, and you're allowed to hurl questions at them that they may or may not answer as they walk out the door. That's what you get for 4 days. So I'm sure it's constructive conversations within those buildings, but no, I don't think the SEC's budging, and I think the SEC is adamant that they do not want a 2014 playoff, and without the SEC's consent, it's not going to happen.
All right, so it sounds like that's what Sankey wants, but then if you read what others think, Joel Klatt and others, it's kind of split. Some coaches and ADs do want the 2014 playoff. Where do you think is this all politicking, if you will, for a greater good later?
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, the coaches want a 64-team playoff, David. You know that because they all want to say they made it. I saw the On 3 just put out something where most of the SEC ADs want it. Same thing. I mean, they want to be able to say, hey, we made the playoff. I'm doing a good job. I hired the coach that got us to the playoff. Who cares if it destroys the college football regular season? That's not my job. My job is to propel my university, and we make the playoffs. So of the power brokers and the one that's not getting mentioned, and you're not going to hear it much, but hey, I shoot it straight, right? ESPN, Disney, they don't want it expanded. They're in bed with the SEC. If it expands beyond 14, television rights deals are up for grabs. I think that's a key reason why the Big Ten wants it, because Fox wants to get in on the college football playoff broadcasting rights. And I think that's a big reason why ESPN, ABC does not want to.
So you think it'll stay at 12 through 2031?
If the Big Ten won't agree to 16, yeah, because I think the SEC is happy at 12.
Talking to SEC Mike here on TexAgs Live. Also, 8 and 4 teams, I don't want them in the playoffs. I don't think we need to reward mediocrity as a playoff thing. Now, if you could figure out, eventually what I think is going to happen, Mike, if they do go to 16 and 24 teams, eventually what we consider a successful season won't be making the playoffs. It'll be like, are you one of the last 8 teams surviving, right? That's what becomes the price of success.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know if you've even conjured this, David, but what we're probably going to have to do if it gets to 24, we'll probably have to move, say, the Iron Bowl to week 1, the Egg Bowl to week 1, Texas A&M week 1. And you'd say, well, why the heck would we do that? Because those games are completely meaningless if the Aggies and the Longhorns are already in the playoff and we're just fighting for seeding. Players are going to sit out, and that's across the board. I mean, I think that's realistically what we're going to have to do. And I think that, again, that takes away from the sport. It takes away what makes college football unique is the regular season, where you're fighting and you're clawing week in, week out. And I think we even gave a little bit away in the 12-team model, like Ohio State got embarrassed by Michigan. They still were able to go into the playoff and win it all. So we have given up a little bit of that, but I think we completely give it up if we go to 24. I just think it would be devastating for the sport, and I think the people that are trying to push it towards 24, they could care less about that.
All right, so what would you do? If you could just do it the SEC Mike way, what would the postseason, what would bowl game, what would it all look like?
I mean, I'm happy at 12. I think the fact that we have teams like Notre Dame and Texas fighting for, hey, we should have made it. Well, maybe you shouldn't have lost to Florida. You know what I mean? So those are good, healthy conversations, I think. I think the playoffs should be elite. The only thing I would change, 2 things, really. I think we need to do away with automatic qualifiers. If you're in the top 12, you're in. If you're 13, I'm sorry. I don't care even if that's the SEC champion, which I know would never happen, but the SEC champion, if you're 13th in the country, you should not go to the playoff. And I also would like to see a lot more home games in the college football playoff. I mean, I think that's what you're fighting for, not to host the Sugar Bowl like Georgia. Georgia should have been playing Ole Miss in Athens last year. I think they earned that right by winning the conference title. So those are the only two things that I'd really change.
So I just want to see if I'm hearing you correctly. You don't care as much about the SEC championship game, or should that be rewarded in some way, shape, or form, the conference championship?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we could do away with that. I really do think we could. Now, I would not mind some kind of play-in type game where maybe we should have done something like that, where it was, say, Oklahoma and Texas. We kind of already have that, but maybe Texas Vanderbilt last year, and the winner of that, well, that's another one that we kind of already had in the regular season. But some form of a play-in type game for the college football playoff, I think that would be a lot better than an SEC championship where Alabama just gets completely throttled. Looks like they don't belong on the field with Georgia, and then we got to put them in the playoff because we can't deduct points from a team that made the SEC championship. It just seems to have lost most of its luster.
So the SEC obviously going to 9 games regular season this year. Some are for it, some are against it. I think better games to watch. I understand all that. If they move to 10 one day, which is what I think the Big Ten is flirting with that idea, are we going to stop getting A&M versus Notre Dame and Ohio State and Texas? Because it almost makes no sense to schedule those games unless you force some kind of way where we have an agreement with the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12, and we're going to play every team over the next 15 years, whatever it may be.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we are. And we've already started to see some of that home-and-home series get canceled. Apparently, neutral sites now that's something that is interesting, these universities, because they can make so much money from a neutral site game, which I think is a travesty. Again, college football is meant to be played on home campuses. But I know there's a lot of consternation, and I feel like this is the coaches they're very good at winning these narrative battles. We need a 24-team playoff. I wonder why. So you don't get fired for making the playoff. We need I don't want this 9-game SEC schedule. Well, a year ago, you were complaining about how unbalanced the schedules are. I love the 9-game SEC schedule. It's going to make it more balanced for everybody. We can't have these 16-team conferences, and you're not playing any of the teams, and you're not traveling to their universities. You might as well not even be in the same conference, A&M and Georgia, if you're never going to play. I mean, that's foolishness to me. I love this 9-game. I think it's great for the fans, and I think it may make it where the SEC knocks a team or two out of the playoff that normally wouldn't. But this sport, to me, is not about college football playoff or bust. It's the week in, week out, all these great games, the rivalries, the passion, the tradition. It's not the playoff, which has only been around a couple of years anyway.
Mike, how important is it, though, for the SEC to win a national championship this year and not go another year with the Big Ten seeing, see, we are the bigger conference, we're doing all the good things, even though I think we're probably in agreement, SEC top to bottom is a better conference, but the top has been much better in the Big Ten the last few years.
Oh, yeah, no, it's massively important, David. Shout out to all the Big Ten homers that have been their frequent guests now on that SEC podcast in the comments, just dancing on our grave. Indiana's the best. Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, I don't think I could take another year of it. So the SEC's not even had a team in the national championship game the last 2 or 3 years. So I mean, I guess we got to start there, right? We got to get a team in there. But yeah, they've got to win it too, because otherwise there's not much debate. The Big Ten is and has been better at the very top, but I would agree with you. I don't think it's better top to bottom. I think the Big Ten's got 3 or 4 teams that you got to take seriously every year, while in the SEC we got 12 to 13.
Talking to SEC Mike here on TexAgs Live. All right, Mike, it's been a minute since we've had you on the show. I think December was the last time. A lot of changes for A&M, some exciting changes, some questions. Where are you on A&M entering the 26th season?
Oh, very high. I mean, I think it's realistic for them to go back to the college football playoff. I'm not quite at the point where I'm saying A&M is going to get there for sure, but I think, man, there's something about that Texas game, right? Where, what was it, the first year they were battling to basically both years to make the SEC championship game. I think this year, once again, I think Texas at A&M is going to be, maybe not for the SEC championship, but I think it's going to be the winner gets into the playoff, the loser's out. I really do think. I think that Tennessee game for A&M, they're hosting A&M that's going to be another huge one. But man, you got to hand it to Mike Elko. I mean, I think he is. I foolishly rated him like the 7th or 8th best coach at the beginning of the offseason. I need to amend that and apologize to the Aggies. I mean, he's top 5 hands down, and he's probably even better than that, but he's only had 2 years in the conference, so I can't just name him a top 2 coach yet. But I think the job he's doing is masterful. What are they going to look like on the offensive line? That's going to be very interesting to me. I like, they brought in transfers. They got some homegrown guys. So I have confidence that they can put a competent offensive line out there, but that's going to be huge. Where are they at on the defensive line? Where are they at linebacker after the spring injury? That's going to be interesting. But A&M's going to be there. And I think they're going to be there the entire Mike Elko tenure. Maybe not every year in the playoff, but really, it's like I said, I think the winner of that Texas A&M game, the winner's going to go to the playoff. I think the loser's out. I'm not quite as high on Texas, imagine that, as everybody else, and I'm a little bit higher on A&M, if that makes sense. I mean, I think the separation between those two is very, very small.
All right, so who do you expect to take a step up this year in the SEC and maybe take a step back? And maybe along those lines, why are you not as high on Texas?
Well, one thing with Texas, I mean, their strategy has been kind of interesting. It seems like they've kind of said, to heck with depth, let's go with star power. I have seen several metrics that suggest Texas has the nation's toughest schedule this year. They play Ohio State, obviously. And again, they're ones that now that we have this 9-game schedule, it's a little bit more balanced to where the Longhorns got to face a tougher SEC slate that they haven't had to do the last couple of years. I think Arch Manning, again, because of that Manning name, he did catch fire at the end of last year. I'm not trying to take away anything from him, but I'm still I just saw a lot of inconsistencies from his football game. So I think he's a really, really good player. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman or anything like that. So I think Texas is going to lose at least 2 games this year. So like I said, if they go into that A&M game with 2 losses, I think they're done with a third. So just watch it. And I'm really not a big believer in Sarkisian. He's a very good play caller, offensive coordinator. Is he an elite head coach? I don't think so. And bringing in Will Muschamp, who hasn't called defensive plays in over 10 years, I don't think that was necessarily a genius move like so many others. So that to me is a huge, huge question mark. In terms of someone that I think is going to take a step up, I think that the team that everybody's writing off, and I think this is right where they want to be, is Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to be really good. I know they don't have a quarterback that anybody knows who it is at this point in time, but Josh Heupel seems to always get a lot out of that position. And whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Faison Brandon, the true freshman, or George McIntyre, the redshirt freshman, surrounded by a wealth of talent. I think Tennessee may have the best offensive line in the conference this year. They hired Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator. He's really, really good. So I think if they can just be competent on defense, I think that Tennessee A&M game, the winner of that, is very likely going to go to the college football playoff.
Mike, I appreciate your time as always, buddy. We'll talk to you here real soon. I know we'll see you here in a couple of months as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, SEC Mike. Michael Bratton there. That SEC podcast. Great stuff as always. Appreciate his time here on the program. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short final 9 o'clock segment before Billy joins us here in studio. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team. That right team hopefully is Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise does run deep at Paragon because credentials matter, and so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratello Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Liucci. And Fratello has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratello is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
Howdy, Ags. This is Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed, and you're listening to TexAgs Live on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 coming to a close. Let's go check in with Justin there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Mr. Paez, I said today's your last day. Today's your last day on air.
Right.
But your last day is Thursday?
It is Thursday.
And then you're going to go become a big-time business person.
Yeah, definitely gonna miss here at TexAgs. This has been a crazy ride.
I will brag about Justin for a moment. He was not supposed to be on air. He was hired to be. You wrote right initially, yeah. And he went out of his way to do great work in every department. So that's why he got an opportunity. I think you went in for somebody who was out of town or sick or they missed the show. You just came in and you knocked it out the park. So you've been a great addition to the team. We're going to miss you, buddy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Let's read something or let's do something.
Yeah. I'll go with Calvin on the TexAgs chat here. He said, kind of surprised the NCAA didn't arrange for us to meet the Longhorns or another SEC team in the Super Regional.
Yeah, but I'm happy. But I just don't like. For what I do, I don't like dealing with their fans, right?
Yeah.
I love dealing with my brother-in-law and my wife. They're great. They're awesome, right? And honestly, I think it's all fan bases, social media. Like, remember when Miami, the game was approaching, there was some radio guys and afterwards, and I got a lot of love for Miami, but I don't like mean. I like trash talking, there's in the lines and out of the lines, right? Like in the line trash talking, not like going out of your way, but that's every program. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to hit a break. I think Billy Liucci will be here at 10 a.m. I haven't spoken to him today, but we'll chat with Billy. We'll chit-chat with him. We'll probably, maybe chew a little bit on some of the things SEC Mike was saying. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Should have Billy Liucci here on the program at some point over the next couple of minutes. Let's check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin, any takeaways from SEC Mike's interview?
I actually liked some of the things he was talking about regarding the expanded playoff. Obviously, he's not for it, which I also agree, going to 24 teams, that is. But he also spoke of a potential play-in type of thing where you have maybe a set of teams, maybe you still stick with the 12, and then you have play-in options. What do you think of possibly having that?
I think that's cool. I personally think we should keep the SEC championship game or all conference championship games and find a way to reward it more than just a trophy. I don't know if that means home field. I don't know. And I understand that if you play in the Big 12 or if you play in the Cha-Cha-Cha conference, that you shouldn't be given a national seed. So I think that we'd have to give it some thought based on strength of schedule, some kind of formula that makes sense. But I think you should be rewarded for playing an extra game.
For sure.
And I don't know if that means a first-round bye, which would upset OB because he hates the first-round bye. I don't care as much. I also understand that teams with a first-round bye last year, were hurt by it, except for Indiana. I get that. But whatever. Didn't seem to hurt Indiana, right? It didn't seem to hurt them. So I say all that to you in that I'm okay with that idea. I wish we could find a bowl system play-in system, right? To where bowls do matter, that if you go to the bowl in Tampa, if you go to this bowl, that bowl, it actually matters. I believe that. And I don't know how you make it matter. And maybe but I don't think we have enough weeks to do everything we want to do. Right? And still have a regular season. Basically, we have to wrap our heads around it ain't going to be like it used to be. It ain't ever going to be like it used to be. And you can't have everything you want. You can't have a regular season where every game matters and blah, 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 blah. Right? Yeah. You can't have an expanded playoff and not it trickle down to rivalry week and people take time off. Oh, but then we put rivalry week in the middle. But what about the tradition? So you're going to lose something with everything. From that perspective, I like it. We've got freaking AI. There's smart people out there that can figure out a bowl system that can kind of feed into a playoff, right? And I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe it's a fake tournament, all right? This is another bad idea. I'm full of bad ideas, right? But maybe, I've said this for how long now, Cade? Maybe 3 years, that the bowls should be your non-conference game to start the season. Yeah. Nobody likes that idea. Except Josh Pate said it once, and people started liking it again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You have been saying that. I think that's I think it's an interesting idea, especially because it would add another I know teams like to schedule for example, on A&M's schedule this year, it's Arizona State is your non-conference game that's actually that's fun, yep. And then your other two non-conference games are Missouri State and the Citadel. And so if you're gonna do a fun non-conference game, it should, I guess, it should matter for something.
Dude, Labor Day weekend. Dude to everybody. Dude, Labor Day weekend. Nobody likes this idea, but I think it's fantastic. I just spit everywhere in the studio. Billy's not going to come in. You do Labor Day weekend. You qualify for the same bowls, but you do it in September, right? And that's your non-conference game. And you are in your slotted or your same way that everything's the same except you do it in September. And then you can still have some extra games that are kind of bowl. Maybe you have different tier bowls. Or we're talking about that next level of bowl, right? The ReliaQuest Bowl, the Texas Bowl, whatever the next tier of bowls are after the playoffs. You have those in September. And then you have the rinky-dink ones, the 6 and 6 teams that play still in December. Okay? That's how you separate it. Y ya, se acabó todo.
Nada más.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it takes away. It makes scheduling easier. You only have to schedule 11 games, and you get your 12th game gets scheduled for you.
Right, and then you qualify to play Arizona State anyway. Okay, cool. We'll just do it now, right? It doesn't seem hard. And it's going to be a non-conference game. It's not going to be an SEC versus SEC team. You do it Labor Day weekend. People have all summer or all off season to plan. Hey, school's starting soon, but let's, we can take the kids on a weekend vacation to Tampa for a cool ball game. Let's do it, right? That's how you fix the bowl system, and then you still have your playoffs. And I know I'm going to get some hate on the text line. Too bad. It's my idea, and I'm going to keep it.
I feel like there's not going to be a way that they're fixed in the next few years if they try to fix whatever's going on that people are going to really like. Like, even if your idea, which I'm still wrapping my head around, even if that's the way they go, I feel like there will be a ton of blowback.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Gabriel Vargas, who's getting his learner's permit right now as we speak. A good friend of mine's dad said, we're listening in the car. So shout out to Gabe for doing that, Gabriel doing that.
We're shutting out learner's permits now?
Yeah, we are.
Not the actual license?
Yeah, we are. Dear friends of the family.
It's like running a half.
Almost like family.
It's like running a half marathon.
Billy, I don't think you could walk a half marathon.
Yeah, I could do that. I couldn't run one. It's like okay, let me put this like running a half marathon and putting a sticker on your car because of it. Run the whole thing.
Why?
I climbed half a mountain.
I mean, what if you do it in record time?
Good for you.
Why are you always confrontational when you walk in here? Why can't you be like, hey, that's great for one of our, biggest
kidding.
listeners.
Good,
I
congratulations, young Vargas, Gabriel.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, lighten up.
You lighten up.
Like, come on.
I'm joking back.
Can I
I like that shirt, though.
Thank you. You're not joking back. You're like, oh, I need.
How can he tell me what I'm thinking?
I need to cover for the Vargases so they understand that
I got their back.
We got to get Billy to admit he's joking because it wasn't obvious.
It wasn't obvious that I wasn't joking
That
back?
I was joking. It wasn't.
See, you think it's sensitive that I respond to your.
You're not coming back with humor, though.
I think Justin laughed. Cade laughed. Those are two people. I think the Vargases are laughing.
Shoes today. There's a compliment. Cade got good shoes. Cade.
Is he wearing socks, though? Because I don't like it when people don't wear socks. Well, don't show me, bro.
Yes,
God bless.
he's wearing socks.
He was about to show his feet. Anywho.
See, that one didn't land.
He left. He's laughing right now. That's not a fake. That's more of a fake laugh. You're right about that one. Yeah. Hey, so SEC might.
Good luck, Vargas.
You'll
get your learner's permit. Don't be like me and fail your driver's test.
Could you parallel park right now?
That could be content.
We should do that. Me versus you, parallel parking.
Why, are you no good either?
No, I'm great, but everybody says I'm a bad driver because they rode with me once where I was texting and driving all over a one-lane highway and got us lost once when we were coming back from Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that's true. You did do that. And didn't realize you didn't pump gas and we tried
to
drive
I was sleepy.
Away.
That's not driving. That's just tired.
Okay.
Hey, so SEC Mike says something that caught my attention. We got to talk baseball, obviously, but I want to ask you this. He said he was not as high on Arch, and he made a comment. By the way, I understand exactly where he's coming from. I'm not saying my opinion on this just yet, but he said you look at what Arch did at the end of the year, and he understands the bump up he gets. But he's like looking at the total body of work, right? Why don't people give Marcel that same kind of total body of work? Because yes, the last couple games weren't good, but the total body of work was excellent.
I've said that all along. I've said it all along. And then people will say, well, I mean, he wasn't playing anybody. And you say, what about Notre Dame? Well, that was one game. Then you say, well, what about, again, I've done it. Like, you can look at the numbers, his quarterback numbers against common opponents. Florida with several of them. Notre Dame to Carson Beck. You could go, Missouri, guys like Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, John Mateer. Like, take these quarterbacks, Chambliss, Mateer, Stockton, Manning. Chambliss, Mateer, Stockton, and Manning. And I think there's one more. And Ty Simpson. And you can take those five guys and Marcel, and you can go common opponent for all of them and look at numbers. And I'm just telling you, Marcel's, if you just rated, okay, 3 guys played this one team. Let's rank them. Marcel's first, second. 4 guys played this one team. Let's rank them. Marcel's first. 5 of them played this one team. Marcel's third. 3 of them played this one team. Marcel's third. He's not at the top of every one of them, but he is clearly outperforming some of them against like opponents. It just is what it is. You can look up the number. And then also, he was winning those games. All of them except Texas and Miami. And so, yeah, I do think people forget, like,
how he played against LSU. And I know, like, he threw 2 picks there that he did not have to throw. Well, especially the first one in the end zone. As great as he was, KC Concepcion also dropped a touchdown right in his hands on the play before that. Right in his hands. Perfect throw in the end zone the play before. Now, that doesn't mean you can come out in the next play and throw a pick. But my point is, though, he played outstanding football in Baton Rouge. He was great. He was great against Arkansas, and I know it's Arkansas, but again, you can put his numbers against Arkansas versus everyone else's, and they were all pretty good. But he was incredible in that game, flawless, really.
Yep.
South Carolina was you give him the mixed bag, but numbers wise, he was better than all of them, and he played one of the best halves of college football by a quarterback in that second half. Florida, he was really good. Really damn good. And, the only games to me where he struggled were those 2 and Auburn.
Auburn, yeah.
And 2.5 with South Carolina. But again, I go back to the running game kind of let them down in those last 3 games. And I'm not saying that Marcel played well, but had they been running the football against those teams, he would have been asked to do less.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been in some more manageable downs. And maybe that slows up the Colin Simmons and the Dylan Clarks and the Reuben Baines of the world, right? So, dude, again, I'm the first guy that said all from the end of this season on, like, he's got a lot of improvement to do, mainly in protecting the football, like decision making, not just protecting the football, but just like getting rid of it quickly, deciding to run quickly, throwing it to that open receiver immediately without hesitation. Those are the things that he needs to improve on. But to act like he didn't have a terrific year last year in his first full season as a starter, he far exceeded what anyone nationally, and I think even in this fan base, thought he would do. And yeah, I get that these last couple games kind of tint your perspective a little bit, but also going back to Arch, I'm with SEC Mike on this one. I just, people continuously talk about the second half of the season. They scored, he wasn't bad against Georgia. I watched that game, but they scored 1 touchdown. He was better. Like, if he'd have played Georgia early in the year, he probably throws 4 picks and they scored 1 touchdown. They lost 35-10. Kentucky and Mississippi State were in the second half of the season. Now, he put up big numbers against Mississippi State. That was similar to Marcel against South Carolina, though. They were on the ropes. Like, just to act like he was incredible. I watched him against A&M, and I said that. I wasn't impressed with the throwing. I was impressed with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be really good. But I'm just not sure he's going to be at the...
Is he New York good?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I mean... If you made me bet money today, I would say yes, because he's got great weapons around him, and in Sark's offense, he's going to put up numbers. He's got some incredible weapons around him. If that O-line's better. But as far as, so New York good, if there's 5 of them going, yeah, I would bet my money that he'd be, because he's got a lot going for him in that department. But I don't think it's a sure thing, like so many people do. And I don't think it's like we're entering into the year that this is just Arch Manning's year and everybody else is just happy to partake. I don't see that. Like, I wouldn't pick him as my first team all SEC quarterback. I'd pick Trinidad Chambliss. And I think guys like Reed and Stockton and who else is in the conference that I don't, Levitt potentially, you give him that Lane Kiffin boost, but I do think those are guys that'll be in the conversation with Manning when you're talking about best quarterback in the SEC, and maybe even Mateer, although I'm a little less on him as well. I'm a little less on Levitt and Mateer, but they could certainly factor in. I think it's a good year at quarterback in the SEC. I didn't even mention Lenore Sellers, but I see in my head, like, when Arch looks good, what he really looks like, and you think about those weapons and you go, okay. But I don't think you just go, man, he was just so good closing out the season that trajectory just continues on. That's all. And with Marcel, I also think you don't assume that either. That his trajectory the last couple games, he had, really those count South Carolina in those last 3. I think he had 3, 3, and 2. He had 8 turnovers in those 3 games. I don't think you just assume that trajectory is going to continue either. I think either one of those things would be silly.
The what-if game, if he doesn't throw that pick against Miami to close out the game and they find a way to win, okay? I know it's a huge what-if. I also think we look at it differently, too. But that play was, the biggest play of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was. And it was indicative of I think a lot of his turnovers have come in the red zone and near the end zone. I mentioned that LSU one. The one against Miami did it. There was one of those against Florida. The one against Texas, one of the 2 against Texas. There was one against South Carolina there right before halftime. I mean, I just named without thinking about it. I just named 5 of them. So that is a, you're not only turning the ball over, but you're costing your team points and valuable points in some of those instances. So yeah, that's something he'll have to work on.
Let's do some baseball on the other side. Right now, we're talking about Guaranteed Bank and Trust. When it comes to your money, don't you want someone who actually gets this community? That's going to be Guaranteed Bank and Trust. Somebody who bleeds maroon and white, knows what it means to build something here in the Brazos Valley. Again, that is going to be Guaranteed Bank and Trust. That's what they do. Their market president, Brandon Sears, is an Aggie. He thinks this community matters to him, and their passion behind what they do there is very evident when you go and do banking with Guaranteed Bank and Trust. Community banking means your loan doesn't get shipped off to some committee 2 states down the road. It means you're going to get somebody right down the street helping you approve it. Bryan College Station is growing, and Guaranteed Bank and Trust is growing with it. They support local business, financial education, home ownership, and nonprofits. Check out the website, gnty.com. That is gnty.com. Stop by one of their 3 Bryan College Station locations. It is Guaranteed Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lending. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy Liucci's in studio. A&M baseball goes 39-14. 18 SEC wins. They get the 12th seed. A week ago, we thought a top 8 national seed was certainly still in play. I don't know if they would have won that game against Auburn, how much that would have changed things, Billy, but was it a snub?
Yeah, I think it was to have them where they were. It's hard on the SEC ladder. What was A&M, 5th?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to. That one's harder to fight because everyone was so jumbled up, you know. And the Aggies beat Florida. They didn't beat Auburn. They beat Texas. They didn't beat Georgia. The real debate was probably with Florida, who they did beat head-to-head. But there's just all these metrics, you know, in particular RPI. But I'm like, how much did they drop again when they lost to Prairie View? And we count that, you know, like if you're A&M, don't ever play that game again late in the season, whether it's Prairie View or Abilene Christian or whoever. Just make up an excuse and drop it. That did impact their RPI. That did impact their non-conference strength of schedule. 2 things that were mentioned.
Didn't the committee penalize teams for doing that, though? Was it Oregon that I think dropped one late, and they got penalized for 2, though? So
did they? So somebody else dropped one that did not get penalized at all.
Oregon dropped one, and then they jumped us.
I don't know.
Oregon dropped a game.
They
and then
dropped
they jumped
one that
us
would have
for Cade Beckham.
They jumped us.
Jumped us in the.
Oh yeah, Oregon was 11.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so they were not penalized. You're saying they were.
No,
they benefited.
They benefited. You were right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point everyone was making. So that's pretty, you know, a pretty damning indictment on the committee. 12 is not. Look, I don't think it's. I do think it's to a degree. Like, you finished 3rd in the SEC. You had a game rained out against Texas where you, even if you'd have lost it, it probably helped your metrics as well. But had you won it, you're finishing 2nd, clear and free and clear in the SEC by yourself. Well, I guess you'd have been tied with Texas there.
Oh, you would have
had 2nd.
You would have, yeah.
And you would have swept the series. So that was a real opportunity lost on that Sunday. Even had they lost the game, I think it helps them. It helps them a little playing it. But I mean, look, I think the Aggies at 12, it's lower than they should be, but like, deal with it. Like, you're playing at home. You've got the bats. I'm more looking at the regional they were dealt and kind of going, who didn't like A&M on that committee? I understand Lamar's got an ace. They're a 4 seed with a Southland Pitcher of the Year there, was it Olivier?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like, the committee really screwed A&M by giving them a 4 seed with a good pitcher. Those tend to be regional. That was regional. That part doesn't. I'm not going there. But the USC as the 2 is fascinating. If RPI matters so much, that USC's RPI is sitting at 9. They're the highest ranked 2 seed in the RPI. Their RPI is actually higher than A&M's. It's the only regional of the 16 where the 2 is a higher RPI than the 1. And instead of putting them against the 15 or 16 seed, you're putting them against the 12. And it's a 12 that probably should have been more like a 8, 9, or 10. Right. So A&M, I think, really got shafted by these RPI truthers on the committee. So I thought that was tough. And that's obviously a very tough matchup. USC, you can look and they've got pitching. They're one of the better teams in the Pac-12. They were red hot to start the season. I think them and Texas were like the last 2 teams to lose a game. But they also are like 1-10 against, what's that metric that they're 1-10 or 1-11 against? Is it RPI top 50, RPI top 30? Probably 50. So it's a tough draw, but you're playing at home. You're going to have a healthy lineup, hopefully, and I believe they will. Healthy lineup for the first time in weeks. You're going to have your preferred
1-11 against quad 1 RPI.
Quad 1, yeah. And you're going to have your defense set back up the way you like it. You're going to have your optimal lineup that now includes probably Royo that didn't before. So, you just need to put that behind you quickly and go win this series or this weekend and see if Carolina survives. Because the last time we were supposed to go play Carolina, they lost to Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a home series against Davidson. And every year, probably 3 of the top 8 seeds go down. It seems
Well,
like.
in Tennessee, I mean, that's a regional that Tennessee can win.
Yeah, yeah. So.
But I do think coming back home where you've won 7? Is it 7? No, 9 in a row. 9 in a row in postseason play in Bluebell.
Yeah.
Healthy. And when I say healthy, not just offensively, Aiden Sims coming back as well. I think
that's big. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
You want to expand on that?
No, I mean, I was just.
You were sending it back to me.
Something, I said, yeah, that's big. That's the biggest
Well,
thing.
I think that is the biggest thing. You get your best pitcher back,
Yeah.
right? How they use him, I think, will be interesting. I think Bronny said yesterday that he would expect them to maybe pitch them in game 2, which I would think you would want to keep the same consistency of. But he also flirted the idea of Weston Moss going in game 1.
Yeah, whoever goes in game 1, they're just going to have to step up. And you could win A&M the series if you go in game 1 and can get into like the damn 6th inning and not go out in the 2nd or 3rd, even fourth, which would be a solid outing, assuming, you're walking out with your team having the lead. But like, if you can get through 5 on Friday as a starter, man, it would do wonders for this baseball team's chances on the weekend. But we just don't know because they're so unpredictable. They've been so unpredictable. So.
Well, and for this team, when they get good enough pitching, because you're not going to get shut out. I hope you're not again. I don't want to say it out loud like that, but offensively, this team
is not. That's an outlier for sure.
Right.
There could be another outlier somewhere along the way, but that's an outlier.
But this team, if you can keep teams to 5-6 runs, you have especially at home, you have a chance to win and move on.
Well, and the biggest thing is if you can get that game 2, and you're going to be probably facing USC or Texas State, second guy, not their ace. If you can get that one, I think if you do that by the time you play on Sunday, you'll be starting to face a depleted pitching staff. And if you have to play a Monday game, you'll really be facing depleted pitching, even for USC. Where you could see pitchers capable of mowing these bats down, like on a normal matchup setting, like what Auburn did, like what Florida's ace did on Friday night. That would probably be when you face North Carolina's got multiple dudes that can throw it like that, kind of like Auburn. And so that's a scary matchup. I wouldn't worry about that till you get there, though. And it's college baseball, man. Like, way crazier things have happened than this A&M team winning their regional at home and going on the road as a 12 seed and beating a 5 seed. Much crazier things have happened. So yeah, you drew. I think they drew a team in a super that could win a national title, and they got a really tough 2 seed. It is a hard path, but you're the goal is to get there. You were gonna you could get lucky, but you were gonna have a hard path. Now, I don't think Texas has a hard path, and I know Tarleton's over there, and Bronny thinks they're the world beaters of all time, but I think they got. It's crazy if you look at RPIs of all the different seeds. Texas, as like the 6th seed from like 5 on down, got by far the easiest draw. Mm-hmm. That even easier than some of the other. I mean, it's crazy how cake that draw is. And then even to go Oregon State, I know that's tough, but that ain't North Carolina. And then they earned more than that with a 6 seed. But you look at some of those other teams around them, I think Texas has a pretty good path to get there this year.
From an A&M perspective, I prefer playing an ACC team as good as North Carolina is if you make it to the Super Regional than having to go to Gainesville, personally. Like I think it works out better.
I agree. And, I'm going to say, well, I would probably rather gone and played Alabama than North Carolina. Maybe played North Carolina rather than Florida. So it just, however you cut it, man. And we know that this team isn't some flawless juggernaut of a team like a UCLA right now, that there are certain, you realize that probably whoever you were going to be matched up against, even your 2-3 game on Saturday, and and the Super Regional, you were going to be matched up with a team that we would have been sitting here saying could certainly beat you. But with the way A&M hits, they can beat anyone. And I know good pitching typically beats good hitting, but it hasn't always been the case with this baseball team. They have pounded some really good pitchers this year, and sometimes they haven't pounded them, but they've just figured their way out through the course of a game, and like you said, scored 6, 7, 8 runs. It doesn't feel like it. You go, how'd they score 8 today against a really good pitcher? Well, they just over a 9-inning game, man. They lean on you. They wear on you.
Well, the thing that worries me is just when you make comparisons, not you, Billy, but people make comparisons to USC's pitching staff to Auburn's.
Yeah.
Because that's like, but
yeah,
if they don't have the same level of offense, that is
Auburn's,
a factor for
Auburn
A&M
at
side.
times USC's really good. They should be a concern. But those numbers aren't built against the same teams either that Auburn's are. And I would also say that Auburn isn't 1-10 or 1-11 against quad 1 RPI teams. There's a reason for that, whatever that is.
All right, we're headed to break. Ground Shuttle, they offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. Commute in luxury and in style with reclining seats and power outlets. You can enjoy the ride, catch up on work emails, read a book while your shuttle driver takes care of the driving. They're right there by Casa de Brazil in South College Station. You get dropped off at your office, or you can utilize their convenient, secured on-site parking for free for the first 4 days. They have 9 shuttle times that run during the weekdays every hour and a half, and 5 shuttle times on the weekends. Great way for business travelers, commuters, and students to make sure that they get where they need to go. You can check out the website at groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com, or give them a call, 855-303-4415, 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving.
Howdy, this is Texas A&M pitcher Aiden Sims. You're listening to TexAgs Live.
And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy, your boy Brett McMurphy tweets out, new 9 of 14 SEC athletic directors who responded to On3's poll want more than a 16-team playoff, directly opposing Commissioner Greg Sankey's 16-team presence. Do you buy that?
9 of 14 want more than 16.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, coaches?
It says athletic directors.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of them are probably going on behalf of their head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that. I know it's not all of them, like Klatt said, but it wouldn't shock me if 9 of 16 wanted that.
Do you think that's where we're going to get, though?
Yeah, ultimately I do, but I don't think that's what Sankey wants. I think he'll fight it with everything he has, but I do think ultimately that's where it's going to go.
But what kind of power does he have if the athletic directors and the presidents want it differently?
Not much.
But what I think he said yesterday was interesting. Look, I'm not saying I'm paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm against it, but I think we need more information just to jump up to 24.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I think he's against it. But I just think ultimately, if that's what the ADs and coaches, presidents want, that's where it's going to go. I think his deal is he's trying to talk them out of that.
Well, he did say yesterday that he doesn't expect for any final decisions this week, that they still have plenty of time. And he does say the SEC championship game is not going anywhere for now. I want to find a way to incentivize the SEC championship game to where it actually matters to win. It does.
I agree.
And I think it needs to play a role in the playoffs. That I don't know, because I know people hated the fact that conference champions were getting a bye or the early incarnation of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything about how we'd set that up?
How we set what up?
The SEC championship game and how it can be incentivized.
Incentivized to
the playoffs.
You set up a 3-game SEC tournament, 4 teams, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you would incentivize that game. You either are just keeping it for them to have a champion reasons. And for the financial reasons, or you're not. And I don't understand just how does it hurt to keep it?
The teams will say that another game, another wear and tear on your body. You're having to win these many games or playing these many games before you're even in the playoffs.
Should you have an out clause where a team cannot play in the conference title game if they choose not to?
And then it's the next man up, the next team up. So last year, if Alabama didn't want to go, A&M would have moved into that spot.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't seem to make sense, but if it helps you get teams into the playoffs, I think your fan base would actually be okay with it.
SEC Mike said he'd like to see a play-in game instead of a SEC championship game, to where, and how did he phrase it? Teams that are just outside looking in with an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
I wouldn't mind that. A play-in game.
A play-in game, yeah.
Or could you have had 2 last year, where your last 2 teams get in via play-in game?
So he mentioned that
4 teams, and then 2 of them get in as the last 2.
Like last year, would it have been Texas versus Notre Dame, or could have been some of the games we already saw in the SEC, which was Texas and Oklahoma, Texas and Vanderbilt. But Texas Notre Dame would have been kind of a cool.
Yeah, Texas Notre Dame, BYU, Vanderbilt, like that would have been cool. But then that puts you, that puts you to 14. You'd have to eliminate these guaranteed bids, which they don't seem like they're going to do. One of the guarantee was the ACC not getting in because of that weird rule, but they have that group of 5 one. So,
if you could have your wish list, Billy, of SEC non-conference games that you could pick out, and A&M obviously being top of mind, what would be some SEC non-conference games to start a season that you would like to see? Like, I'd love to see, I think you've said this before, I'd love to see A&M take on Penn State at Happy Valley. That'd be cool just to be there.
That would be, you talking about just for A&M?
No, SEC, but starting off with A&M.
Yeah, A&M, I'd love to see Penn State. I'd love to see, the problem with the West Coast home and home, you do that early in the season. So I would kind of say Penn State, Ohio State, Florida State. Those would be some for me.
The time we played Florida State, I think that was what? Was that 98?
Yeah, that was a pigskin kickoff
Yeah.
or whatever.
Was that in New York?
Yeah, it was. I was actually there. That was actually the first game I ever wrote for the Maroon and White Report.
Is that right?
I was previewing that game, yeah. So I would say that. Around the SEC, we saw that a few years ago. Like a Texas, Oregon would be a fun one. Alabama, Ohio State, which is actually happening in another year, that would be one. I think Georgia, maybe Georgia, USC, Georgia, Michigan.
I think Georgia. Yeah,
those would be something. I'd like to see Texas Tech play a high profile team in the SEC. It doesn't have to be A&M or Texas like they always want, but or Texas Tech versus Michigan. I think that would be a cool one.
Is there an LSU one? Because they play.
They
Clemson
play a lot of people, man. They don't back down in the non-conference. Probably. I think LSU Penn State would be something. Happy Valley and Death Valley, the two opposite valleys. That would be a good one. I feel like. I think LSU Miami would be a good.
That would be a really good one. Yeah.
Kiffin versus Cristobal, and I think that would be a good one as well.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll close out the show on the other side. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy, this will probably be the last time this week I bring it up, but I didn't ask you about it yesterday. Do you watch your boy in the fight?
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
I did. That was ridiculous. It was ridiculous that I was up that late.
Oh, you saw it live. You didn't watch the replay.
Yeah,
of it.
no, I
Was
did.
it on pay-per-view?
No, it was on like YouTube. But yeah, no, I mean I watched Bob Menery before the fight. I'm going, God, this guy's on some real drugs. And when he got in the ring, he looked like it. And I was like, it would probably have been a pretty hard fight because of the just crazy he's just all over the place, and just the movement was so erratic.
Yeah.
And just probably would have been really awkward to you'd have to have been like a good trained fighter, I think, to just be kind of patient and wait back and wait for all that movement and find your spot. And obviously, I can promise you, Johnny didn't do any training. Someone probably told him to, probably learn that kick.
He looked like he'd been training a little bit.
I think he clearly learned how to do that kick, and he landed it and went with it several times, and it was landing pretty solidly to the body, actually.
Then the football tackle,
and then he tackled him. He slipped trying to throw that haymaker because again, like Menery was like moving around like a rabbit on, coke. He's bouncing around, and so he tried that haymaker and missed, slipped, ducked a punch, tackled him, and then it was kind of over from there. So I thought he did all right.
He was fine for somebody who wasn't trained. I thought he did fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you probably won't be surprised with it. I didn't know who Menery was. Never had.
Yeah, I knew him. I knew of him just from the, he does the funny hot sport highlight stuff, and that's kind of where he became well known years ago.
I didn't know that.
Now he's well known. He's just kind of like a crash out king.
Hey, Justin, you got us a couple topics for us to close out.
Yeah, we were listening to a good friend of the show, Josh Pates, yesterday, and he was talking about Miami and just kind of the success that they had last year. And he didn't say they were going to be a dynasty, but he said, are they building towards a dynasty, saying Mario Cristobal is built for this era of college football. And he didn't think that the national champion runner-up team was the peak of what Miami's going to be. Do you guys agree or thoughts?
Billy, I don't know if, when I think of a coach built for this era, maybe it's him. I don't know, Mario Cristobal. I think of Elko. I think about people that are like they're organized. They have a plan, but you got to win at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it's all about winning. I don't know if we're going to see dynasties the way we saw them growing up.
No, I don't. I don't. And maybe Josh didn't mean several titles like that, but I do think Cristobal is the guy for Miami, the best guy they've had in a long time there. Going back to Erickson?
Dennis Erickson.
He's the fit, and he's the fit for now. And he can rally the troops and raise, get the money. And I think he understands he doesn't understand. He has mastered the importance of, credit A&M for getting Mark Matthews, but keeping those Florida kids in Florida. He's done a great job in the portal of getting players, particularly this quarterback kind of run they're on. I think he's got it pretty well figured out. I think he's their guy for this era. I think Mike Elko is A&M's guy for this era. I think, there are other coaches that are doing a great job at their places for this era. I think Lane Kiffin might be perfect for LSU in this era. But dynasty, I don't think so. Win a national title, I do think so. So if Pate means turning Miami into a top 5 program, potentially top 10 for sure, which would mean you'd start seeing them in the playoffs year after year. I do think he's got that role in there.
Of all the coaches, who would be the closest one to dynasty-esque? Is it Ryan Day? Is it Cignetti?
Probably Ryan Day. Because he's got a body of work to go with it that if he wins a second title, all of a sudden then you start having the real discussion. And maybe I'm not giving Cignetti enough credit, but he could, obviously, if he won another one in the next 2 years, you'd put him and Indiana in there, which is crazy.
Well, if they go to 3 straight playoffs with 3 different quarterbacks?
I don't think that's dynasty, though. That's the question that we're asking is what is dynasty in today's college football? But if Ryan Day wins a second natty to go with, the body of work he's got, then you start putting them on dynasty watch. But Kirby's still there. If Kirby were to go win it this year, then he's already that's that. Like they're a dynasty. That's 3 national titles in what that would be like 3 and 5 years. Okay, there you go. So
he's already there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's so. But Cristobal, Lanning, Elko, Signetti, who's already got one, put him ahead of those guys because he got one. Signetti,
Sark.
Day, I think Day. He goes Kirby, Day, Signetti because he's got one, and then there's a big group, and it's like Sark and Lanning both have a little bit of a head start on these other guys we're talking about. But Cristobal, I don't know how long he's been there. It might not be a head start. Cristobal, and then Elko. You got, I think, Elko, Lanning, Cristobal, and maybe Kiffin steps in there. Those are 4 guys that stand out kind of in that like, hey, they're coming, that realm. They're kind of like that next group that's on the way up, and you could say, man, they're you can just see all the markers saying they're building towards something really significant.
Interestingly, a name that we did not mention at all, and I know why, is Dabo Swinney, who would have been a name that we would have mentioned in that a year or two ago, but the last 2 years have tainted, especially with the era changing, right? The direction of college sports. He's not even a top 15 name we mentioned right now.
No, and his resume is better than all the ones we mentioned, right? But
except maybe Kirby.
Yeah, except maybe Kirby, but it might even be. But yeah, he's kind of out of the conversation now, which is crazy that he's kind of talked his way or coached his way, run a program his way out of the conversation. It's wild to think that would ever happen with how they had it rolling, around circa, 2017, 2021, 2016 to 2021 there. When did Trevor Lawrence win it? He lost it to LSU. Did he win it his freshman year?
He won his freshman year.
He took over that year and won it. So he won his freshman year and then lost it the next year. So like that 16 or whatever it was to
2017, I think.
2017, was that the first year they won it?
That was the Deshaun year?
Yeah, you're right. That was the Deshaun year.
And a couple years later, so
I'm
maybe
assuming there was a build-up, though. So I'm saying like 16 to like 21, that little stretch, you thought they would never go away, but they did. So that's the thing. Can Elko get him there? And I do think he's on that. It's good that we're talking about him on that short list, and he's there for a reason, and rightfully so.
Thank you, Billy.
All right.
It's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, John Harris on the program, Recruiting Country, and Kendall Rogers. We'll see you then.